So problem comes from two Greek words. Pro, that means ahead, and balein, that means to throw strongly. Strongly, to throw strongly. So that would be to throw something with a lot of strength ahead. Throw something ahead. That's the meaning of problem. So a problem would be to throw something really hard ahead without thinking about the consequences of what you have thrown. And of course, we have, for every problem, we have a solution with its verb to solve. That comes from solvere in Latin. That means to set free, to release something. So to take literally the etymology of the words, the example would be, the problem is when you have something and you throw it very fast and far away, but that thing that you throw is connected with a rope. So you threw it away, but if you don't let it go, if you don't release the rope, you will be drawn with that, like pulled by the force of the object. So in order for you not to fall down, you just leave it away. You release the cord. And that's solution, to solve. So speaking only about the etymology, this is the example to remember the etymology of both things. So when you think about these two words, now you can get this idea that a problem is something that we are attached to, that is pushing us ahead, that is pushing us with a strength, with a force that we don't have. The problem is like moving us forward with all the strength that we don't want to move. We lose our axis because of the pushing of this object, the thing that was thrown away. So this means that we are pushed and we are losing our axis because we are attached to what has been thrown away in the future or ahead of us. And how can we solve the problem? By letting it go, releasing the tension, leaving it away. As you see, just by the etymology of these two words, it's like a whole book of, how do you say this? Autoayuda, to help yourself. I don't know the name in English of these kind of books that are for your self-awareness and these things. Self-help? Okay, thank you. Self-help books, thank you. So etymologically speaking, problem and solution, just with the only words, are the summary of every self-help book. So the reason why a problem appears once and again is basically because we are attached to that problem, because we are constantly attached to that person, situation, concept, object. So from different points of view, from our inside, we are still attached to that thing that is thrown away. So the way in which we are going to solve a problem is by transcending the problem, not to eliminate the problem. So a problem has been designed in order to help us evolve, to help us improve ourselves, to give us something new with a solution, experience, knowledge, wisdom. When we want to eliminate a problem, what happens with us is that we don't have also the solution. We don't have also the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience. So we don't evolve. We keep staying exactly like the same. This is why a problem is a synonym for transcendence and evolution. We all here exist because of the problems. So the same word problem is helping us to understand our own evolution, that we are here because of the problems. So the same word problem saying that we are pushed and thrown away in front. We are moved, we are pushed in front. Okay, that's what the problems mean. So a problem is helping us to move forward constantly. Okay, but once we reach there, we have to let it go. We have to solve the problem. To solve the problem is to let go the problem. Otherwise, we throw it away and away, and we are repeating exactly, constantly the same. So this is something that you will see from different views in your life, in the problems of your life. So now I'm going to speak about it from 3 different points of views. So here we have a cube. Can you see the shape? We have a cube, and inside we have these lines that connect the faces. So we have one line here straight, connecting the up and down. the other line here connecting the both sides, right and left. And then we have another line here connecting front and back of the cube. Each one of these lines has two different directions, one that is positive, the other one that is negative. As you can see, all the forces have come from the center of the cube here in the intersection. So this shape of the cube has emerged from the core, and all the forces will come back to the core. So we have here that this vertical line here will have a positive and a negative side of the line. So we can say here that if all the strength was in the core, this is like the Big Bang. So eventually it will explode and expand the forces in between positive and negative. So it will expand so much, the positive in one side and the negative in the other side, that all the forces will be thrown with a lot of strength ahead in all the directions of the universe. That is why we can call this line of positive and negative a problem. The expansion then would be a problem. So we can say here that the problem emerges when the two forces expand. But of course, the positive and negative, they attract each other. They come back to the center. So they will start to close up one to another. And as much closer they get, the faster they start to move. So they hit each other. They collapse to each other. And this is what in Latin we call conflict. Con meaning all together, all the forces, and flictus, that means heat. Means the heat. So that would be a conflict when all the forces find together again. The problem is the expansion, the conflict, the contraction. This is another way to see this expansion of the universe. So this means that the universe expands itself looking for problems, trying to find different ways. So eventually the universe will need for all those problems to find each other in order to integrate all this experimentation so it can be transcended. So that moment when all the problems find themselves together in one point, we call that having a conflict. So I don't think that I have to give any example of what a problem is, because we all have some kind of problem. And of course, we all have some kind of conflict. So as a basics, let's say that a problem is something that we know that we have, but maybe it's in the future, it's coming, or we are thinking about it. And a conflict is something that is happening right now, that you have to solve it right now. So exactly the conflict is the one that is right now and that we have to solve, because the problem is the one that has been creating the different possibilities for my evolution. The conflict is to leave that process of evolution, and suddenly when you just release, when you find the solution to that, is when you understand that you already integrated that evolution, the tools for that evolution. Let's see the lines. So we have here these three ways of problems, conflicts, and solutions, which is, one is the high, up and down, the high, related to the spiritual with oneself. The other one is the wave, related to the emotional with friends and family, all the known people. And then we have the depth, which is the physical, related to the enemies. First of all, we have the inner conflict. What would be the line that have a positive and the negative crossing the whole being that we are, that I am, and we have these problems that are created in our own existence, that then they create a conflict. When they come back in the center in one chakra, it creates a conflict, and that conflict must be solved by our own self. So we have a conflict between our emotional, our physical, our mind, our beliefs. We have an inner conflict that we have to solve by ourselves. And the way we solve something from ourselves is when we release the tension, knowing that this is just an inner process, and so on. But let's go to the problem thing. So the second one is the horizontal. The horizontal is related with the line of the arms to the sides. So from here, we have the connection with the family, the friends, the lovers, all the ones that we are together as one, okay? So when we expand like this, we create problems with them, with these people, with the ones we love. So then this love comes back, creating a conflict inside related to those people that we are connected to. This is the conflict. So what do we have to do? The problem is the conflict is within ourselves. So when we release the tension, when we solve how we solve the problem, releasing the tension from inside and releasing them from the tension also. That would be. And the other one, which is the depth, is related to the back and front. So this one is the one that is related with the enemies. What it means, the treasons and the wars in front of us. So is problems with people that we don't know, or problems that we have no idea about, that they come from behind and we don't know how to face them, or also those problems of the enemies that come from in front, that are these people that are fighting with us, even if they are not connected to us in our love. So are those who we go in war, in battle, we face, okay? So when we expand that, we create the problems, and then they come back creating the conflict. How do I solve this? By releasing the tension. So of course that for one problem, there is thousands of solutions, and there are thousands of problems. So it's impossible for me to say how to solve a problem, because each one of you has a different way to solve the problem. But what I can really say is kind of the key of how it is to solve a problem, which is to letting go, setting free. And that's what I'm going to try to explain. Remember that these days we have been speaking about what is intention, what is the tension, what is the conflict. So now remember that we have 3 strings. One string that connects me with myself, another string that connects me with the loved ones, and another string that connects me with the world. So now, remember the tension. Everything is connected by these strings. So we are all connected by this tension. We share this tension. So if one of those strings starts to stretch more and more and more, and one of them release the tension, the strength comes really hard to the one that is holding it. So when someone releases the tension, someone suffers the effect of that release. So this can be like this with our inner self, like this with the outer world, and like this with the one love. So if I am here loving someone, and that someone leaves me and releases the tension, the one that is suffering is me, and I stay with all this energy here. So suddenly, when comes another person, I will say, oh, now I love you. So can you hold this, please? Can you hold this for me? So as you see, it's exactly the same. Okay, so eventually it will happen the same because it has the same energy. So the same problem is repeated. So now, like this, I will recognize that the problem is not in the other one. Who has the problem? Here. So the conflict that we have, the emotions that we feel, are only in us. The other one doesn't have it. What is the most logic solution for this problem? So I don't repeat exactly the same. The solution is to let go. You go and buy another one. I would like for us to understand something from this. So this here is a problem. Yeah. So the reason why I can know that I'm attached to this problem is when in my life the same things are repeating once and again. The same people, the same situations, everything is repeating once and again, once and again. So how can I make this thing into something that, instead of bringing me the same problem once and again, helps me to evolve? So now we will see another way to let it go. Pay attention. The next is called transcendence. So now to transcend a problem, to create a problem into another thing. So we have here this link with someone, with a person. So when I recognize the problem, instead of waiting for that person to release and I get stuck with all this, what I do is to change the question. So instead of asking why this person is reflecting me this or doing this to me, I turn the energy questioning, why do I see this from this person. Simple change that brings us to transcendence. So this is the way in which we can understand now how to make a problem, how to transform a problem before it gets a conflict, before it begins to be a conflict. You make it into transcendence. So the problem here doesn't make a conflict, but it was a release of the tension, and the problem became evolution, moving myself forward. Because if I release the tension, I don't have anything. I just stay in one spot. I don't do anything. It doesn't have any meaning, any sense, anything. So the one that usually don't want to face the problem, because to face the problem is to do this and say, oh, this is the problem. The ones that don't want to face the problem just get stuck in this connection. Okay? And that's not changing. It's the comfort zone. And you stay like this with this bad energy all the time. And this is how a problem can take us into another level of consciousness. I didn't erase the problem. I just use it as a way to jump into another level of consciousness, let's say. And just to end this with ourselves. So now let's imagine that we have here this, and we have this problem with a person, and we say, why this person is doing this to me? If I am a good person, I didn't do anything bad. I'm always a fine person, a good person. How can I transform this within myself? The change of this question would be, what is this person reflecting to me? What is this person giving to me so I can teach better to others, to help others? Or I can do another jump, like, what am I learning from this situation? So as a practice, maybe you have to buy some of this and do this in the face of people, but don't release it on the face of people. Just that.